Hi everyone, this is John Carroll from John Carroll Coaching. I'm very happy that all of you could manage to find some time to watch this video. And today we're going to start our first and new series that we have called Spiritual Solutions for Material Problems. I'm going to start with giving all my thanks to all of our supporters already on Facebook. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all your engagement and your comments and your hearts. We appreciate it. And if you didn't subscribe our Facebook page, you can find me on Jan Carroll, not John Carroll, but Jan Carroll Coaching on Facebook. And also, of course, subscribe our YouTube page. As we all know, right now, the world is a very huge commotion. Most of the dust have already settled in, and we are already quite used to living in our post-coronavirus situation. But before we're going to move on about the whole situation that is happening right in the world, I wanted to address it again. So many of you tried to come back in the past when you for the first time heard about coronavirus and all the problems that might have occurred for you in your life. A lot of shops have been closed, a lot of jobs have been closed, you cannot travel freely, you have to sit in your house, and try to remember all of the shock that you have in your head, all of the thoughts that you had, immediately the actions that you performed. And probably some of you felt a lot of anxiety, you felt a lot of stress and a lot of fear. And I would say that those emotions are quite useful and quite normal for all of us when we approach with a completely new situation. We probably thought that the world, when it would change, it was going to be something big, you know, like there's going to be a zombie apocalypse or World War III or some other big tsunami will come or earthquake. No one actually expected that the new cataclysm that we have to get prepared to is going to be a silent killer that no one knows about and that may attack the people most close to you, that you are not even aware that it happened. So a lot of us, we were not prepared. We were prepared for something massive, for a lot of movement, a lot of action, but this kind of all of us trying to stay in our houses and just sit peacefully and perform our jobs through the internet, social distance from people, in some countries not to go to the forests, and any other things that put a lot of constraints on us may have been a little tough. So today I wanted to speak about acceptance and how to accept changes. It's a very big topic. Of course, all of you had a lot of things that you had to accept in your life. But it is a process that the more we do it, the more better we get at it. So there is a lot of motivational coaches speak about people to go outside their comfort zone. And what is really now popular is to stay in your comfort zone, but to spread your comfort zone. So rather than all the time going into fight or flight mode and fighting with all the stress, why not feel comfortable in any situation that life can give to you? So this is what I would like to speak today about. And all of you, you can check all the other information that a lot of coaches, a lot of books, everyone is telling you how to be more acceptable and how to be more flexible in life. But what I would like to focus is to give a little bit different perspective. So the perspective I would like to talk about is a little bit more spiritual. So what I mean by spiritual? By spiritual, I mean knowledge which is accessible to people for over hundreds of thousands of years and which is practiced by a lot of spiritual groups, by Buddhists, by monks, by Hindus. And this knowledge is called the Veda. So the Veda is a knowledge given to us by the ancient sages, which are also practicing this knowledge. And this knowledge comes through us from, some people call it God, some people call it higher consciousness, higher intelligence. The Vedas is a unique kind of knowledge that can allow us to understand what's happening right now in the world from a completely different perspective. If anything happens in your life and you can see it from a higher, more broad perspective, then naturally you feel more comfortable and capable of dealing with the situation. Like, for instance, every one of you understand that to have control in your life is something very important. And to have control means also to have knowledge how to deal with the situation. So one of the ways how people who practice any kind of spiritual path, they try to understand that there is a higher purpose over what's happening right now in the world. A lot of us may think that the coronavirus has been a man-made up thing. There's a lot of theories right now on the internet. We're not going to detail into those. Probably you heard about them. A lot of people say, well, yeah, what has happening right in the world is just Mother Earth trying to fight with us, trying to fight with our aggression. And it also has an aggressive response to us by producing a virus. This is another theory. And what a spiritual person is trying to observe in their life is that this world that we live right now, this material world, is temporary. And this world is full of changes. And this world also has a meaning why we run on it, and there's a higher purpose behind everything that is happening. So the spiritual solution for this material problem is to understand that everything that is happening in our life is actually guided by a higher intelligence. You may call this higher intelligence universe, you may call it your inner self, you may call it the cognitive energy, you may call it God, you may call God Jesus, Brahma, Buddha, Krishna, Ram, but the idea is, or you may believe it's aliens, of course, but the idea is that there is a higher intelligence that is helping to change our consciousness. According to the Vedas, we all come from a spiritual place. We all come from a place where there is no time and space works in a different way than over here in the material world. Once we come to this material world, we get a covering of this body, and there are also laws here which are governed by other beings. In this material world, what is most important to understand is that it's a school. And in that school, we are learning. We are learning how to deal with our feelings, with our emotions, with our life, with other people. And perhaps you ever heard about this term that life is a roller coaster. And actually it is. It's a roller coaster. It goes up and down, up and down. It goes all the time around. You can go on the ride as many times as you want. But after some time, there are some people who start to observe the roller coaster from far away, and they say, oh, actually it's a cycle. It goes, I'm happy, I'm sad, there is distress, there is problems. Everything here is not only temporary, but until we learn some lessons as an individual and as a collective, some lessons we will have to repeat. I strongly believe, and based on the facts that I know from a Vedic literature, that all that is happening right now for us is good. And it's something that can help us. This is the first base of the understanding that, okay, it's not like this is the universe trying to destroy us. No, it's universe trying to push us to see a little bit more, understand a little bit more, and change the dynamics. Because let's be honest, didn't you change your schedule of your day? Didn't you start to walk different paths? Didn't you start to do different things that you didn't do before in your life? So let's be honest. Every one of us, you change your schedule. You have to change the roads you are walking. You have to change the way you're thinking. And I would like to be interested. What is your opinion about it? Did something change in your life? Did this coronavirus give you an opportunity to become a better person? What did it change in your life? Did you change something that before you were stuck to change? Like, for instance, for me, this gave me a lot of opportunity to have more times to work on my videos and create my materials. And now we can see the internet is blooming with a lot of people sharing their knowledge, sharing their passion. And I believe personally that this is something wonderful. And I would like to know would have changed for you in your life? Did it change for better? Did it change for worse? And if it changed for worse, what could you do to make it change for better? So write down the comments and tell me what are you thinking, and also subscribe our page. What I would like to do right now is I would like to read for our inspiration to think a little bit more about this. One verse from a very famous book. If you haven't heard about this book, then it's never too late to buy it. It's called Bhagavat-Gita As It Is, and it is an ancient scripture more than 5,000 years ago, spoken on a battlefield of Kurukshetra in India. And it is a conversation between an army general and his best friend, who happens to be Krishna. Here I will put the link for Bhagavad Gita so you can check it out. It's chapter 2, text 14. O son of Kunti, this friend, this general, Arjuna, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and the disappearance in due course of time are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O sign of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So let's see. Bhagavad Gita is a book where Krishna is speaking with Arjuna, and Arjuna, he has some moral and ethical issues about fighting on the warfare and killing a lot of people because they are his cousins and friends. And Krishna is trying to explain him about different laws of the universe and how the whole world works. Because until we don't understand the three most important questions in the world, then we are not able to move on and actually solve any problems in our life. How do you think? What questions are those? Okay, so the answers for the questions are: first thing is you have to understand who you are. Who are you and what you can do in your life? And about this I'm going to speak in one of my videos about the consciousness and about who actually are. The second part is, what is this material world? What I'm doing here and how to interact with this world. This is very important to understand where are we in this world. And the third most important question that actually can help you to answer all two previous questions is, who created this world? Or was it created? And if not, or if yes, try at least to gain some knowledge about this. And if you believe that someone created this world, try to also understand how you can get closer to the creator of this world. In the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna and Krishna are speaking about all of these different important topics which can allow us to have our life much more fulfilled and successful than we could ever imagine. And Arjuna doesn't want to fight. So Krishna speaks to him that, well, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress in this world are just like summer seasons, you know? You will always come from some problems in your life, because after summer comes autumn, and after autumn comes winter. So it's inevitable. Everything in this world works in cycles. And some of the cycles will be better, some of them will be worse. It doesn't mean that all of our life will have to fight with some kind of disasters. But it means that everything shall pass. Speaking about everything shall pass, I will tell you a very interesting story. There was a King Solomon, and King Solomon had his very, very faithful servant and his minister. And King Solomon found that his minister was a little bit puffed up. So he decided to give him a task. And he told him, I would like you to find me a ring. And the minister said, of course, my king. What would you like? And he said, it's a special ring. He said, my king, there is nothing that I will not be able to do for you, my liege. King Solomon thought, okay, you're so full of yourself, no problem. I will find something that will be very difficult to find. So he told him, I would like a magical ring that makes everyone who is happy, that looks at the ring, becomes sad. And everyone who is sad, who looks at the ring, becomes happy. And the prime minister thought to himself, well, that's going to be very difficult. The king told him, you have 6 months to find me the ring. So the prime minister, he went all around the world. He traveled through different seas, deserts, forests, speak with different people, tried to find the truth. But in the end, 5 months and 3 weeks has passed, and he still couldn't find the ring. He came back to the kingdom and he was a little bit heartbroken. And then he found a person inside the kingdom who was selling jewelry. And he asked him the question, do you have a ring in many of your rings that you have that is able to make a happy person sad and a sad person happy? The person who was selling the jewelry smiled and he said, wait a second, I'm going to give you something. He took a very beautiful golden ring, and on the back of the golden ring he wrote something, inscripted something. When the Prime Minister looked at the ring, he gave a big smile and he understood, this is what I was looking for. Thank you very much. He came back to the kingdom. The day has come, 6 months has passed, and King Solomon has asked his Prime Minister, so, have you found the ring that I was looking for? The Prime Minister smiled and he answered, yes, my liege, I found the ring that you were looking for. The king inspected the ring and he said to him, but this ring looks normal, there is nothing special about it. And the Prime Minister said, my king, do not take out this ring, but if something very, very serious happens to you or your kingdom and you will be in a very, very difficult situation, just take out the ring and you will understand everything. The king was concerned, but he thought, okay, I shall see. Suddenly, after a few months, the kingdom was under attack. And the king was in a very dire and difficult situation. All of his army was almost losing and he was in a very, very painful situation. He was thinking about to put up the white flag and to lose his kingdom. And then when he was sitting, he thought, wait a minute, I have the ring, the magical ring. Let's see if my Prime Minister was true and the ring really works. He took out the magical ring and started to inspect it. But still he was sad, nothing happened. And then when he looked inside the ring, he saw that something is written inside it. And he wrote, and he saw, and he read what was written there. And it said, everything shall pass. The king started to think about it. What is this? The Prime Minister cheated me, just some words, how this magical ring can help me. But he started to ponder about the words. Everything shall pass, everything shall pass. And then he thought, everything shall pass. Also, us losing to them shall pass. Nothing is forever. And the king started to smile, thinking that he was so much attached to the world and that everything that is happening and the results that he has to have. But actually, the world is not working as we expect it to, as we expect to work it. So everything shall pass. And the king understood that just because he's losing right now doesn't mean that he has to forfeit. He gathered more allies and he decided to fight more. And sooner or later, believe it or not, they won. So the moral of the story is everything shall pass and everything is temporary. What was once up can be down. Happiness can change into distress. And the same thing is Krishna talking to Arjuna, and also it's giving to us that we should be not so much attached to always being in the same situation and expect that things will not change. Because if there is one thing that is sure in this world, it is change. I hope that this small talk about the acceptance of the change that are happening right now in the world and acceptance of a higher plan that is coming inside our life and also being acceptable of the problems that may come in our life will help you to have a more happy and more satisfied life. If you like this video, please give us some likes, give us some comments and subscribe our channel. And if you have any questions or would like to discuss more, please tell us about it. Thank you very much for your attention and see you around.